in the love of Peter Obi, in support of Peter Obi, we elected Nin Kompoops to occupy offices. The Zaddy of Benin picking a ticket now is better than the present Labour Party people we elected that took our mandate from the Labour Party we elected them in and the Peter Obi we elected them with. Because beyond Labour Party, we elected them with a person.
Yeah.
Yes.
I expected that their loyalty should be to that person.
So you say that those people should have loyalty to a person, which is Peter Obi, who you are currently loyal to.
Who I am supporting.
Right? Okay, you're not loyal to.
I'm not loyal to anybody. I'm loyal to my God.
You support Peter Obi.
Wholeheartedly.
And you support every action that he makes.
Not every action. No.
Okay.
If he decides to cheat on his wife, will I support it? No, I support his political actions.
Including moving to ADC.
The ADC is a 50-50 gamble. It could turn out very good and it could go very bad.
Hello, and welcome back to another mind-blowing episode of the Unscripted Seat podcast. Yes, relax. I know I always say mind-blowing because be honest. Be very, very honest with yourselves. Don't we blow your mind? I know we do. I remain the beautiful Gen Z body of the house, Z of the good life, and I am here with my resident hater. The only person that hates me just for being a Gen Z. I'm just existing, yet he's just hating on me. I have with me the one, the only, Zaddy of Benin.
Hi.
Zaddy.
Yeah.
What happened? Are we going to see you with plates very soon?
I'm not happy.
You're not happy?
Yeah.
What's making you unhappy?
I bought for 1,000.
Don't. I understand. Yes. I cannot even say you should take heart safe because.
So today, mind the way you
I should mind the way I talk to you.
Yes.
It's not me. Not be me do you. Not be me actually do you.
I share the anger right now.
Oh yeah, now I know that you say me no vex. Vex because that is what we need to do right now as a nation, and that is why today. Mm-hmm. That is why today we did not come with small leg. We have with us one of the hottest political analysts in town. I've been seeing him for years, and I'm like, okay, I think I started seeing him like a few years ago, and I'm like, this uncle, he's very, very vibrant. He's very, very articulate. And today I have the honor of sitting down in the same room with him. Today we have with us Zekeri Idris. Welcome, sir.
Thank you. An absolute delight to be here. I am deeply honored. You've been on my case for a while. Not you now, wherever. I must give her credit. So thank you for putting in the effort. Thank you. And I'm happy to be here.
All right. Thank you so much.
He's not a Gen Z. He's a dragon. Like
I'm in the midst of two dragons. Two people who were in the 1980s. And they like, at least I am protected today. Welcome once again to the Unscripted Seat podcast. So, personally, I want to start out with a little bit of history. Your name is very different. I'm not an Edo girl, so I'm not really conversant with what Edo names should be like. But your name doesn't exactly look and feel like an Edo name. Is there a reason why?
That's a good question, and no one has asked me this question before, and it's important to answer it once and for all. In the northern part of Edo State, we have a majority, what you can consider even parts of the central Edo, but majorly in the northern part of Edo, we have what we call, we have a majority Muslim population. And the political, and if you like, even the spiritual headquarters, because the diocese of Auchi, which is the Catholic diocese in Edo North, is headquartered in Auchi. And Auchi is considered the cradle of Islamic civilization here in the South. The biggest mosque in the South of Nigeria is located in Auchi. So you can say the political headquarters and the spiritual headquarters of Edo North is Auchi. I am from Auchi. I am from a place called E18 in Auchi. E18 is just behind the Polytechnic. The primary school that shares fence with the Polytechnic is called Ehe Primary School.
As a Poly Road?
Yes, Poly Road. And that is the primary school I attended. Just after the primary school, you see the Catholic church. My family house is maybe 3 or 4 streets.
By the left.
Yes, down the road. Along that road, Bank Road. You can call it Bank Road in Auchi. So I am from Auchi town, Auchi Vili. Then I also have a unique history. whereas my father is from Auchi, my mom is from Okpila. But they had migrated. Our ancestry is from Okene in Kogi State. So they speak, I grew up to meet my mother speaking clear Ibira and also speaking Okpila. But her documents carries that she's from Okpila in Edo State. And when she passed, we also buried her in Afukpila. So she's there resting with the angels in the stars. So my name comes from my Islamic background. I was born a Muslim. Up to this moment, in my family of 6, we are equally divided. Father and 2 children, Muslims. Not just Muslims, devout Muslims. My elder brother is a Malam. My elder sister is a Mualimat. And then myself, my younger sister, and my late mother, Christians. Myself and my younger sister, Catholics. My mom was a Catholic. So I come from a unique background. And that's why I preach unity in this country. Because if you say, let them destroy all the Muslims, I will lose half of my family. If you say, let them destroy all the Christians, I will lose half of my family. It's only when they say, including me. If you say, let them destroy traditionalists, maybe it's only Zadi of Benin.
I agree with you.
It's only Zadi of Benin I will lose. So that is the name and that is the history. But I also have my Edo name, which is not as prominent as my Arabic names. By the way, Idris means someone who is constantly learning. That's what it means in Arabic. And Zekeri is Zachariah from the Bible. It's the complete name is Zachariah, which is the Arabic version of Zachariah in the Bible. So you can call me Zachariah. You're not wrong. I baptized in the Catholic Church with a baptismal named Benjamin. So my name is also Benjamin. And my Esako name is Agbozwadu. What it means is you cannot carry this life. So we are not attempting to carry it today. We are attempting to play in this life. So I think that answers to your questions so that tomorrow people will not come and say it's not from me. I'm a full-blooded Edo son.
Yes.
We are from Kogi.
Yes, they say that.
I Googled, I saw that, I was like, hey.
They say that, but that's up to them. I am partly from Kogi. It's not something I deny. So from my maternal ancestry, but my father is from Auchi. As a matter of fact, if you go back history, my great-great-grandfather or my 4th great-grandfather is from Udo. Yes, in Benin. Yes, in Ovia, yes. So I can also say my paternal ancestry is from Udo. So you can trace it all the way back. But the interesting thing is that I know my history.
So you're a homeboy.
I'm a complete, unfettered homeboy.
Okay.
Fully grounded.
Okay. So this leads me to ask, how exactly did we get into politics here? How did you get that interest? Where did it come from? Is it from the fact that you are from a politically inclined place? Or what exactly?
We were not exactly politically inclined until the advent of Adams Shomoli. Edo North. In fact, my part of Edo North, Auchi, is the most conservative in Edo North. That's why we've not had a governor, and we are the biggest. But we've not had a governor, we've not had a deputy governor. Maybe you can go back to the military. I was not born then. I cannot speak to what I don't know. But we have not held key posts. I think the highest we have held since 1999 is Zakawanu Garuba when he was Speaker at Edo State House of Assembly. I think we've also held the Chief Judge of Edo State, Justice Constance Momo. Those are the key principal positions we have held as Auchi. I'm not talking of Edo North as a whole. I'm not talking of Esako or Afemai as a whole, but Auchi. Even senator, we've not gotten. It takes a bit of, to shock you. And when everybody that comes from Edo North say I'm from Auchi, so we lump everybody together. But there's Auchi inside that Auchi that everybody claims.
Most people confuse Iyamo,
yes. Everybody is from Auchi. So, politics. I can, if I want to be very honest with you, I think Oshomole's interest in politics and his prominence as labor leader drew some of our attention into how government is run. Yes, I'm no longer on the same side with him today. I no longer support him, but I cannot take away that influence from him. And he, when he took interest, specifically in 2007 to be governor, we saw in him somebody we can rally around. And as young people, it's 2007, I just left secondary school. As young people, we saw him and tried to support him, and that opened our eyes. And of course, his first tenure was the biggest banger. All of our eyes opened, and everybody wanted to be involved one way or the other. Everybody's name turned to comrade in Edo State.
Yeah, exactly.
was wearing the khaki.
True. Everybody was
It's
very
true.
brown.
Everybody was very
Actually
khaki.
knowing fully where
Where we were coming from.
True.
I got into Uniben, and from 100 level, I started getting involved in leadership. 100 level, I was director of sports. 200 level, I was a member of the Supreme Parliament, Student Representative Council. 300 level, I was speaker of the Student Representative Council. 300 level, second semester, I wanted to run for SUG, but I got disqualified, and the person whose brother disqualified me, through him, he's still my friend today. He doesn't know that I know that he did it.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I'm sure he will see this podcast and he will finally click in his mind that Idris knows what he did many, many years ago. I'll tell you this story. This story is important. It's a personal story, but I share it. Where the meeting was held that they disqualified me unjustly was a person in the meeting called to say that they are going to disqualify. Your name will not come out in SUG list. I said, perfect, no problem. So I went back to the faculty and became speaker again in Student Representative Council. And then his argument was that I was pro Oshomole or AC then.
Mm.
And he was PDP, pro Jonathan, pro Charles Ariavi
Yeah.
then. But as we speak, the gentleman is now, himself and his brother who disqualified me then, are now in APC.
Jeez. Wow.
But I am now outside APC.
Oh, wow.
I'm no longer
Who would have
pro.
thought?
Who would have thought? So again, this speaks to the fact that let us not fight to finish, and let us not do things to hurt people that they will have in mind.
Yeah.
You know, interestingly, after they disqualified me, I got a call, and they said, the security wanted to see me. And if you attended Uniben, if they say it's better police arrest you
Actually,
than security to
call
invite you. Yes,
True,
they said
true.
security wanted to see me. So I went to main gate. And then they brought out a letter and they said that I was planning to burn down the school because I was disqualified to run for SUG. I said, okay, fantastic. Can you show me the date? They said, so. I can't remember, and it's been a long time. It's over 10 years ago. About 13 years ago, actually. I said, okay, is this the date? They said, yes. I said, okay, on this date, I was sick with malaria and I was in the hospital. Interestingly, I was in the school hospital. I was in Uniben Cottage. Is it Cottage they call it? The small hospital behind.
Yeah, the
That
health
was
center.
health center. That was where I was admitted. So how do you now explain to me that on the day I was planning to burn down Uniben, I was sick in the hospital?
So
So
you're just lucky to be sick.
Posterity,
Therefore-
therefore, rope you.
they would have roped me in. So that was how they let me go, and what was supposed to be an accusation now turned to an advice, or what you can call a come to Jesus conversation. We know you are very stubborn.
Just
We
be
know you are
careful.
very radical.
Careful.
You know there's a lot to happen outside here. But just to say that, you see these small powers that people have, and they begin to, the whole essence of this story is that you see this little power that people have and they begin to abuse. You know, today your brother is dean of students, and then you want to assert on undue authority. Today you are in the governor's cabinet. You are friends to the governor. You are friends to the former, and then you want to assert authority. Today you are close to police. You are arresting everybody. It's grossly unnecessary. Power changes hands, and in my lifetime, especially in my political lifetime, I have seen power change hands. So if you go and attend that MFM program they call Power Must Change Hands, because that's you will learn. You will learn that power changes, and eventually when it changes hands on you, if you have hurt people before, it will become with what I now know, I can decide to go fight back, but we have lived past that. It is now in the history, confined to the dustbin of history. But just know that people know what you did. And I'm also using this opportunity. If I have oppressed you in the past, forgive me, because you cannot truly know
what you have done. You have said somebody, so now somebody will
yes,
go another
but
podcast.
as a core principle, I make sure that I don't knowingly intimidate or harass people because I feel I am in a privileged position ahead of them. I like to fight up, not fight down.
Okay, interesting.
Amazing.
So this is the trajectory of how we have come so far
Mhm.
in the political line. You mentioned that these persons that you mentioned in your story were in AC at the time, were in PDP at the time, and you were supporting AC at the time, and now they are
No,
in
you know
APC.
something
So
funny is here. Something funny, sorry, is the fact that maybe even at that time, these guys were not registered.
they may have
we
just
were
been
not.
supporters.
I was not. I have never registered in a political party.
That was
I
going
think
to
I meant
ask
to
that.
mention.
Yes.
Yes, I have never. Up to this moment, I am not a registered member of any political party. I told them, I said, I only register the day I want to run. But there is no electoral circle that I do not pick a candidate to support. And I have the support cuts across. In 2007, it was AC Oshomole. In 2011, it was Goodluck Jonathan PDP. In 2012, it was Oshomole ACN. In 2015, it was Muhammadu Buhari ACN. In 2016, APC.
No,
I beg your pardon.
2015, yeah, it was APC, yes.
In 2016, it was Godwin Obaseki, APC. In 2020, it was Osage Ezeyamu, APC. In 2023, it was Peter Obi, Labour Party. In 2024, Edo election, Labour Party, Olumide Osaigbovo Akpata. And in 2027, I think everybody knows where I am.
I don't know yet.
You will ask.
Now I am asking, where exactly do you stand in 2027?
It's not a political party. I stand with in 2027. I stand with Peter Gregory Obi, who in my estimation is the only hope in the horizon as we speak.
So have you thought of what will happen if he doesn't get the ticket?
If he doesn't get the ticket, I'll travel abroad and do my masters.
Okay, so you will pack up and leave us.
For now, I'll come back. I will not support unless I just want to waste my time, or maybe I just want to remain politically conscious. I don't see it.
But I thought the goal was just to kick TINUBU and the APC out of office.
That is not my goal.
Okay,
that is the
not
goal.
Your goal.
That is not my goal. That was how we made this terrible mistake in 2015. The goal was to kick out a very inept and corrupt Jonathan administration. But we now ended up replacing it with a calamity in Buhari. The Jonathan administration, with all his weakness, with all the ineptitude, with all the insecurity, with all the food rising, price rising debt, is a joke compared to what Buhari put us through. And then Buhari's own is enjoyment compared to the disgrace we are facing in TINUBU's era.
Honestly.
So I have made that mistake once, and I will not repeat it a second time. I will not let my hatred for the man in power becloud my judgment for the competence of the man I am intending to replace him with. Just like we said, okay, let us get rid of the Jonathan administration. Anybody but Jonathan. That's why we say Buhari sack, APC sack. What it means, APC from top to bottom, then in 2015. And then we repeated a semblance of the same mistake in 2023.
Today they've all gone.
When we, in the love of Peter Obi, in support of Peter Obi, we elected nincompoops to occupy offices. I voted in Edo South. I am Edo Southerner. I do my politics here. I vote here. I do most of my things here. And then we elected some of these guys who are now in the National Assembly, lost, confused, misused, and abused by the Akpabio-led administration. People that don't even know that e-transmission of results is in their enlightened self-interest. Now they have now suddenly realized that they will not get tickets. With an e-transmission of results, they could have gone to any small political party, argued their case, and say, oh, I am senator so. I am rep so. I have done this. They don't want to give me ticket in this big party. I'm here. Edo people vote for me. And with e-transmission, we can guarantee that they'll be successful. But now they've kicked them out of the party that convinced them to work against the interests of Nigerians in terms of e-transmission of results. And then now they are caught in the rain. Imagine as an incumbent, you are lost.
Yes, you are not even sure.
You are not sure of anything as an incumbent. So, is that the of BENIN picking a ticket now is better than the present Labour Party people we elected that took our mandate from the Labour Party we elected them in and the Peter Obi we elected them with. because beyond Labour Party, we elected them with a person.
Yeah.
Yes.
I
true.
expected that their loyalty should be to that person. Wherever that person go, you be with that person. But they've all left. And to the glory of God, they are not going back because even within the APC, they don't trust them.
At all.
If you sell your brother to a stranger, even the stranger will not trust you. That is what has happened to them.
So you say that if you those people should have loyalty to a person, which is Peter Obi, who you are currently loyal to.
Who I am
Am right?
supporting.
Okay, you're not loyal to
I'm not loyal to anybody. I'm loyal to my God.
So you support Peter Obi.
Wholeheartedly.
And you support every action that he makes.
Not every action. No.
Okay.
If he decides to cheat on his wife, will I support him?
Well, that is personal.
I support his political actions.
Including moving to ADC.
I think it was like I was having that conversation with somebody this morning. The ADC is a 50-50 gamble. It could turn out very good and it could go very bad.
Yeah.
And if you ask me, you rather take, I don't believe in playing safe. You rather have taken that gamble than play safe. And how can it go very good? You saw yesterday it was in Kano.
Yeah.
And you saw the mammoth crowd, the
yes.
Kwankwanseya movement,
yes.
who are now shouting Kwankwanso Obi, Obi Kwankwanso. If those two had been on the ticket under Labour Party in 2023, they will be occupying Aso Rock as we speak. Because Obi as an individual won that election flat, but we just couldn't defend the vote. A Kwankwanso would have even added more pepper to the pepper Obi showed them in 2023, and that would have led them to winning that election. It would have been unriggable. Now, for the ADC, we have a mid-level leadership because the Buharis of this world, the articles of this world are now considered the high-level northern leadership. And between the two of them, Buhari is clearly the most loved.
Yeah.
Atiku does not have the kind of organic love and following that Buhari had.
Yeah.
But there are middle-level leaders in the north. Waziri Aminu Tambuwal, Rabi Musa Kwankwanso, Malam Nasir El-Rufai, Abubakar Malami.
Yes.
Those were the foot soldier, if you like, call them the henchmen that ensured that a Buhari had consistently 12 million votes from the north. And they are now all gathered in the ADC. A Peter Obi has organic southern and middle beltern love. He needs a bit of convincing in the core north. And the place where you will break the back of the APC in the next election is in the core north. That is where the terrible lie was told that a Muslim ticket serves them. But they now understand that the Muslim ticket is only in the interest of the two Muslims who hold the ticket, and not other Muslims outside there. Not the Almajirinchi, not the children who are out of school, not the schools that are not available, not the maternal and infant mortality, not the high level of lack of access to education, not the insecurity in the north. The Muslim ticket was for the benefit of the two Muslims holding the tickets. Although they've diffused it to only one, it's only one of the Muslims now that is actually
active,
living large on the resources of everybody. So we need these middle class guys to go to the core north and have a conversation with their people on the way forward. And Obi needs it. Let's not pretend we are living in. You say we are together. We've been lumped together. So we must find a way to work together within the presence of this our geographical expression called Nigeria. So he needed that conversation, and I am sure that conversation is being had. What you are seeing now is a reintroduction of Peter Obi to the core northern, what you can call the Talakawas, the common man of the north. So you saw it in Kano. I think there was something similar in Kaduna. To what extent I have not established. And those are some of the conversations that's why the ADC could go very good. If the egos in the ADC, when I say the ego now, EGO, if they are able to tame those egos, and somebody like Atiku Abubakar, for example, decides to play the role of an elder statesman, and say young people go, Obi and Obi Kwankwanso, and Obi Tambuwal, and Obi maybe even an El Rufai, because no matter how much you hate El Rufai, he has his
He's
core
loved.
following. Yeah, it's love. There are people, you can hate me all you want, but there are people who love me.
True.
So but my first choice, if you ask me, say Kwankwanso. If you have an Obi Kwankwanso ticket, election will be over by 2 p.m. on election day. But beyond being over, the election will be unriggable. First of all, the gap will be too much. And then secondly, you cannot rig a Kwankwanso's election he has won. He set the place on fire.
There will be foot soldiers.
Yeah, there will be people who will do it. And here in the South, there is nowhere for TINUBU to run to. TINUBU lost in Budillion the last time.
Yeah.
He lost to Obi in Budillion. He lost in Ikeja. Ali Mosho, that is the spiritual headquarters of the APC.
Yeah.
They lost in Ali Mosho. They lost everywhere. So he has no way. So if you are losing at home, is it a way that you will win? So there is no redemption. That is why I am praying. In my heart of heart, I pray and beg God every day that an Atiku can decide to play the role of an elder statesman, can decide to put the country first, ahead and above person and self. Anything short of this, first of all, they will lose all of the southern votes. If you give a ticket to who is not Obi, let me mention names, because the good thing is that I'm not a registered member of it. Nobody can accuse me of attacking my party leader. Secondly, I am not under the employ of Peter Obi, so I can hold my opinion independent of any influences. I don't receive a salary from anyone. If you give an Atiku ticket, be sure that TINUBU will remain in office. Because I don't see any of the southern states that Atiku can win in a free and fair election.
What if it's like a repeat of the 2019 ticket?
A repeat? It's even
Atiku
worse. Obi will lose his organic followership. I mean, if you off the top of your head, if you count top 5 Obi supporters, I think I will feature. I will not be part of supporting an Atiku president or vice president. And I know several other persons have spoken like that. And this is not out of hatred for Atiku. It is the turn of the South. Obi has made concessions, has even made a concession that I will only do a one-term presidency. Whether you believe him or not is, of course, any president elected is for a term. It is on the strength of your work that you can request a second term.
Get a second term.
So if he has said one term is enough for me to turn the country around, if he has turned the country around and the whole country is feeling the difference, it will be improbable that we will ask him to go. So he will be under pressure to perform because he only has 4 years. That is why he has by himself say, I will do this. So I believe everyone should step aside and let it happen that way.
If we should go by that, don't you think in 2011, where we all voted for Lord Jonathan, it was the turn of the...
Now, there are nuances to it, and I'll explain. When we all voted for the North, you must remember that the Ijaw nation, you can call them the bread basket of the nation, because all the money, 90% of all the money,
and they're also the 4th largest.
And they're also the 4th. As at then, up to 90% of what was coming to the nation's coffers came from their backyard. And they were suffering devastation. And, you can stretch it further. There were issues of militancy in the Niger Delta.
Yeah, but at that time, Yar'Adua
had tamed it, but those things were still there. They were not finally resolved. And even up to today, they are there.
They're still there.
But those things were very rife then. And what happened was not something that was planned. It was death. It was not an election where we had choices. Death gives you no choice. Death will take who they want to take, and the next person has to step forward. And that was what happened. When Yar'Adua passed, God bless his soul. I always say God bless his soul anywhere I speak about him, because I think he did awesome as president.
I think he's the best president we never had.
Because
Because he didn't last. He didn't
very
last.
long.
But I was so happy about the 7-point agenda.
For the other one,
Yes.
the truth, 7 point. I remember. For the other one, it's not my business whether I rest in peace or not. That is between him
But
and
you
his
said
God.
you can call names. I think you.
Yes, I don't want to call name of that. I don't want to call the name of the dead.
But
So
you try
it's-
know that
Okay,
Baba is involved.
but-
yes,
you
that
don't-
one is up to you. You
But
can't get. You
but
can't.
you mentioned the name of the dead when you, mentioned Yaradua.
Because I have something positive to say. If I don't have anything
Okay.
positive to say, it's up to them.
Just leave it
Okay.
at Baba.
Leave it like that.
Okay, all right, no problem.
So, and then he passed, and Jonathan had to step in. And then Jonathan stepped in a year plus, almost 2 years, and there was an election. There was agitation within the country that these people need to be included. Just as there is agitation today that the average Igbo man needs to lead this country. We cannot be living in the civil war era. Gen Z didn't even. I'm not sure she has done a comprehensive study of the civil war. If she's from the east, why should what happened in the civil war affect her? Even those of us who are millennials, we were not there. We were not part of the arrangement.
You don't even know what happened.
Yeah.
So why should it affect us in 2026? That something that happened in the civil war, that even they suffered the mass casualty. The Igbos were massacred. They suffered the heaviest casualty. Let's even assume they were wrong. That is,
They've paid the price.
they paid the price and paid it in full. And that is assuming they were. Assuming. That one is a debate for another day. So why? Just that there's agitation today. If Peter Obi was from any other ethnic group in this country, Nigerians would be worshiping him. Because of the kind of man he is. Why do we disrespect the people from that part of the country?
But the thing is, the people from that part of the country disrespect themselves as well.
No,
Because
now you cannot use. No, go ahead. I know where you are going.
Because now, let me not even go to City Boy movement now.
You have to go there. That's where you
We'll
start.
get there. But let me not go there now. Now, let me now speak on our Minister for Foreign Affairs. I think she's the Minister of Foreign Affairs, yeah?
No, Minister of Foreign Affairs is too cool.
Oh, sorry. What's that position? I'm talking
Is
about
it Bianca?
Yes.
Bianca Ojukwu.
Yes. Ojukwu's wife. This is the wife of a man that led the Eagles to war. Now she currently serves as a minister under the same.
She has been serving under multiple governments.
Yes, not just.
Let me explain something to you. You cannot use the thinking of a handful of persons to measure an entire ethnic group. Her husband fought and paid the price. So you can as well say she's benefiting from her husband's work. She's been in almost every government. She's an ambassador.
The people that now suffered from that war.
I am coming. That is why that's why I speak for the common man. It's not my business. Bianca Ojukwu was not a poor man. His father was one of the richest men in his time.
True. He was
Ojukwu
never
himself
poor.
was not a poor man. So why do you think what Bianca is doing should concern the common average Igbo man from the east? Now, let's even leave that aspect. You mentioned City Boy, and it's important you mention them. You want to tell me that so-called, I call them politically engineered billionaires from the east are doing City Boy. So that means the Easterners don't love their own. That is a false narrative because they are just a handful of individuals. These are individuals with questioned and questionable wealth. There is none of them that has not visited the FCC.
But let's not forget that these people also
Hold
have a lot of followership they control.
That it is on paper. Can you prove it? If we remove the rice and fish they are sharing, can any of them gather 500 persons
But
organically?
that's the funny thing, because we don't need to remove these things. These things actually affect.
Well, that's what you think. No, Nigerians are not as gullible as you think. Now, those individuals.
There are some people that sold their votes on credit.
Just last week,
I agree.
I saw when some Igbos were chased. These City Boy movement, these Igbo City Boy guys, I don't want to mention names, they were actually chased
from
out of
the
venue that they set up to do things. So that shows us that the Igbos don't even like this person.
I don't support chasing anybody, any political party or any political.
Everybody has a right to associate.
You have the right to associate. But my point is, these guys are just a handful of individuals who have made money in questioned and questionable ways, who all have case files. Underline. They all have case files. The first C has case file, the very big C. The slimmer C, handsome C, has another case file. And all the other ones have case files. They all have case files in EFCC. And that is a leverage. All right, that's a leverage on them. And then like I pointed out earlier, they are politically engineered billionaires. And just like you have genetically modified organisms, that's how they are politically generated billionaires. And they will do everything within their powers to preserve their resources. They will do everything within their powers to preserve their business. The question that the average Nigerian should ask is that, is their interest your interest? How does his billions and his money in our water and all the things he does and his social media, how does it affect you? You must define your interest in a political environment. And the interest of the average Nigerian is security, health, education, information, empowerment, a government that is responsive to you, a government that answers to you, a government that lives among you. That's we're having a debate earlier. You must be inside the people to understand what they truly feel. Otherwise, you do what you think they want, not what they actually want.
True. Okay. So I think let's come down to Edo State. Edo State is a very, very political state. I've lived here for a while. I have seen over the years that Edo State is a very politically inclined state. People are very politically aware. I can see both of you here. Very aware people. So I want to know, in your years in Edo State, in the Edo State government, why have you supported everybody you have supported down to the last election? And then we'll move on to the current government.
I started supporting in 2007. 2007, it was Adams Oshomole. Oshomole then was the most popular Nigerian. He was more popular than the president. And I believed that as governor, he was going to perform. He won that election, he was denied. Went to court, won. And there's nobody in Edo State, even his worst critic, that will not accept that as a first-term governor, he performed. And on that premise, he won his second-term election free, fair. He won the 18 local government and won in the 192 political wards. That is for Adams Oshomole, and got 75% of the votes. That's the man I supported first time. When Oshomole was leaving in 2016, he brought Godwin Obaseki and told us that this man is the brain behind his success as governor. Oshomole was a very successful governor. In fact, I think Oshomole's bringing of Obaseki started his decline in the estimation of Edo people. Started his bad name, if you like, in the estimation, because as governor, he was still very well respected. In this state, everybody put comrade in front of their name. In this state, everybody was wearing khaki that has feather by the shoulder. I had to. I no longer wear them now because it's no longer as respect. Even he himself no longer wears them.
True.
It's no longer as respectable as it used to be a comrade.
I think he has fully switched from the comrade.
He has left the comrade.
He's not a full-blown politician.
He's not a full-fledged politician. Yeah. So he brought Obaseki, which I think was a mistake. We'll discuss Obaseki, but which I think was a mistake. I now know from my political consciousness that leaders should not pick successors. Let people go and interact with the people. Let the party leaders, let the party members decide who will be the best candidate in an election. So he made that mistake by imposing a successor on us. And we all supported in 20, not because we knew who Obaseki was. As at that time, I didn't have a single clip of Obaseki speaking. When I supported him in 2016, we didn't know him. But we supported him because Oshomole had said, this is the man who was principal in my success as governor. And then Obaseki became governor. The first 4 years, absolutely nothing to show. One quarter today, one quarter tomorrow. Substandard projects. That one, they bust my head because I'm a lover of projects. If I ever make it to public office, it's going to be project. Substandard project. And then I hated the quarrels. I didn't like the quarrels. One of the talk then was that they want him to share money. And I'm like, okay. I'm talking 2020 now, between 2016 and 2020.
2019.
They want you to share money. The person who brought you, we know you shared money, but you also worked. You are not sharing money. Fine, no problem. But where is the work? and I can't get a grip of. And I if I want to support you, I want to get a grip of what you are doing. I considered it. I wanted to support him because if you hear him speak, he's a very obeying man. He's a very enlightened, very intentional man. I wanted to get a grip of what the problem was.
Physical.
Yes. At that time was when the market at Way, I've forgotten the name, Ekiosa Market got burnt. The same time, Oba Market got burnt. The same time, Welus Peppers Market got burnt. Nothing was happening. If it rains in Benin, this GRA was flooded, was a no-go area. I mean, we can love anybody we choose to love, but as the lawyer would say, rep ipsa loquitur. The fact of the matter speak for itself. The Benin, Oshomole then was asked why I didn't work in GRA. He said GRA belonged to the rich, that I was going to work in where you have poor people. And he did. But Oga, why are you not working here? Even the ones you try to do in GRA, they are cosmetic in nature. Every rainy season, the road goes back to its former state. And then there was nothing to support in the Obaseki administration. So I decided that I was not going to support a second term of Mr. Godwin Obaseki as governor. So I went to support Izeyamu, who was contesting then, who was a candidate, who was an aspirant, subsequently won the ticket of the APC. Then we went to campaign. Edo people decided that it was best to retain Obaseki in office. Let me confirm it here that Obaseki won that election in 2020 flat. In fact, that brings me to another point. That election was the first election I know of that they did real-time electronic transmission of election results. If you didn't know, they did it in that 2020 election, and by 3 p.m. on election day, all of us in the Zeyamu camp, except those who were living in denial, knew that we had lost the election.
And to be fair, that was one of the elections I saw that people voted without being paid.
Yes, it was a free and fair election.
Yeah.
Now, in fact, I made a post then. I said, because I was in the Ubowo area, it rained on election morning. And you know, Adolo Junction, River Adolo.
Yeah.
Adolo was covered.
Really River
Yes, Adolo was covered with flood. And people walked through that flood to vote Obaseki. So I was asking, that flood you are seeing ought to have been fixed by Obaseki. How did you, in your eyes, were you hypnotized? How did you manage to walk through that flood to vote Obaseki? But that is now a story for another day. But he won that election flat. The elections were transmitted electronically, and it was clear that he had won. Whatever story he had to tell, Edo people worked. That was when they did the Togba movement, and they claimed that the Godfather... In fact, I think the story was that the Godfathers were oppressing him. And there's nothing an Edo man hates than to hear that another man is oppressing another man. No, we don't like to hear it. That's why I laugh at the Pewolo administration. We'll come to them. I laugh at them when they are doing those things because they don't understand the way the thinking of our people work. Nobody wants to hear that you are oppressing another person. And that is what Obaseki told the Edo people, that Oshomole was oppressing him. I know it is a lie, but most Edo people thought it was true, and they voted for him for a second term without showing anything for it. So he won that election in 2020. In 2024, well, let's go back 2011, Jonathan, 2015, Buhari, because we didn't, the corruption in the Jonathan administration, the Sambo, Sambo Dansuki, the national security, that was just stealing army money.
Dansuki Gate.
Yes, that was stealing army money. Then Desiani that had the gold bra and all those shiny G-strings.
I still feel that if that administration had won again, maybe they would have put Nigeria up for sale.
Okay. That was a dangerous. That was a very corrupt administration. I think the only thing that the Jonathan administration had going was that the Jonathan was a fine gentleman, and when he lost the election, he said, "So be it." And that's what we are encouraging TINUBU to do now, because he will lose the election. And then in 2023, I wanted to support Professor Yemi Osinbajo. Because I looked at the APC, then I didn't really know who Obi was. I was hearing of him.
That was what I actually supported as well.
Yes, I wanted to support Professor Yemi Osinbajo. And I told myself, I said, okay, we have a Yemi Osinbajo in APC. And then Obi started coming up, we started seeing Obi. And then we say, we have an Obi in PDP.
It would have been.
Why don't we have a contest between Yemi
At
Osibajo
least.
and Peter Obi, so that wherever we fall to,
We know that it's a solid ground.
It's exactly.
we know it's a solid ground. But in the APC, TINUBU was not the fourth best candidate, in my estimation. Osibajo was high up. Even an Amechi would have been better.
Okorocha.
Rochas.
was there. Ogbonnaya Onu was a fantastic guy that would have made an excellent president. God bless his soul. Is he still alive? Let me not go and wish him dead. But I think, I'm not sure, but I think, So, but for the APC to congregate and hand their ticket over to TINUBU, I knew there was nothing there again.
Prof did not even come second. That's the craziest part.
I just knew there was nothing there.
He just
Osibajo came out third.
Came out third. Amechi came out second.
I was wild.
I wasn't surprised.
I feel if he had gotten the ticket, to be fair, the love Peter Obi has today.
Osibajo has it.
Yes, he has it. He
Yeah,
actually does
Osibajo
have
has it. Osibajo is a gentleman.
Yeah,
And Osibajo, as vice president, didn't have he couldn't. You can't. In fact, vice president, where is what Shetima doing now? But
It's,
Osibajo, as if you see the little time he was acting president, you will see flashes of
Yes,
decency.
yes.
Not just the leadership, decency in public
True.
office. Not the craziness we have now. Now, when they didn't give Osibajo, I knew that was a dead end. We now started looking at PDP. PDP's own was the most insane. PDP, again, as opposition. PDP, oh my God. APC is failing as a ruling party. But APC was a very capable opposition party.
True.
PDP failed as a ruling party and has failed as an opposition
I
party.
see them as a
I
sisters
agree.
ladies club.
That's
right
an
now.
insult to ladies.
Sorry, but you know what I mean.
No, Gen Zs are very sensitive. Don't go there.
No, they are just a group of what we don't
Now
know.
they look like success ladies club.
Because
Now, so I was looking at PDP, hoping that they will hand the ticket to maybe a Peter Obi. Peter Obi was the numero uno.
Or
Yeah.
Wiki.
I would have even preferred a Yesom Wike. Now look at both parties. I preferred Osibajo, but even as a fallback option, and Amechi would have been by far a better president than the disaster we have there now. In the PDP, Peter Obi was the numero uno. And a Wike, with all his inadequacies and his bragado and his, but at least you know he will build road.
if at
He
all,
will at all.
he will still low, but
He will still low, but he will do one or
Or he
two.
will oppress
he will do
people.
flyover.
He will oppress,
He will oppress people.
But at least our
you know
life
what,
is
you know,
still
but you know
better.
what,
Collect land.
you know what public office does to you, especially when you are number one. You will lose the ability to oppress the way you like. It's your people that will do it on your behalf.
Yes.
So it could have been checked. Though Nigeria is bigger than 300 million Nigerians. So, but we knew that was a fallback option. And again, what Wike had going for him was that when Atiku had lost in 2019 and jackpad to Dubai, didn't come back, Wike sustained the party. So I was shocked when on primaries day, I was watching it on TV. They all came out and said, no, say they will no longer support Wike, that they will support.
But I feel Wike had it coming because prior to the primaries, he had issues with almost all his South-South governors.
No, it was the South-South governors that were. Wike has a particular kind of trait that makes him not very likable.
No, but he was
there is hardly any.
Then that simply means that he would have not been elected.
No, he was.
president.
He
No,
felt, he
the
felt
president
that-
does not need to be liked. Just get the job done. Now, and I'm not advocating for him. But in this South you are talking about, Wike has been of tremendous help to all the governors he had problem with. Let me give you one classical example. If not for Wike, Obaseki would not have won a second term. That is a fact. That is by Obaseki's own confession.
Nobody is denying that.
So how come all of a sudden Obaseki did not support Wike to go for president?
But they've had the issue before the primary.
No,
he
that
had the same issue with Okowa.
It was his ambition that created the problem.
But he felt he would get more support from the north. And that was where he was focused
So
on.
are you saying that he
No, the question is,
neglected
what
the
was
South?
the
He
quarrel?
was focused on the north. If you
What
check,
was
prior
the
to-
quarrel? When they didn't give tickets to any of these two prime candidates, and then even the fallback plan, I knew that these two parties were a Siamese twins that have the same umbilical cord. Nothing can change these people. You know, they are two leprous fingers of the same hands. Your best bet is to cut it off because you cannot win that battle. So, and then when Obi, being who he is, went to Labour, and then we all went to Labour. Pro bono, I went to, for free, that means, I went to more than 15 radio and TV stations in Lagos and even in Edo in support of Obi. And it was not fanciful then. The governor of Edo then, people are saying Okpebholo as intolerant. Obaseki was equally very intolerant. That is the fact. I was secretary, planning, the secretary of the media team that was planning the campaign of Obi in Edo in 2023. We applied to use Ring Road. The government used this influence. They denied us. We applied to use the stadium.
But you guys did multiple man of the man, 1 million man march at Ring Road.
That was not an event. That was a movement. Coming. We applied to use the stadium. The government denied us.
The government said you applied a day to the event.
They will always give you
Well.
excuses. We applied. I think that was not the excuse. The excuse they gave them was that they did AstroTurf. They don't want it to go back.
No,
But PDP had their own
The
there.
excuse was PDP had their own at the, what's it called? Table tennis court.
Well, it's up
It
to
doesn't
them.
use the main board.
The point is that we were denied. And then we applied for Garrick Memorial. And then we were denied again.
Apply for Uniben.
So we applied for Uniben. I think they pressured people there and they denied us. And then we now had to go to a private place, Baptist High School. And that was what we now use for Obi's campaign in Edo. I think it was a few days before then that Obaseki said, these obedient people, don't mind them. They will run out of steam. We didn't forget. We didn't forgive. That's why we comprehensively defeated him in Edo South. Lost everything in Edo South. And he's from Edo South. So an Edo Southern governor. As a matter of fact, the candidate he support, which was Atiku, came third in Edo. Obi was first, TINUBU was second, Atiku came a distant third. So I think that was the first reality check that the Obaseki administration had, because they were already strutting like they are above the people. And that is the same mistake that I see even this present government making.
But I feel that happened because he is somebody that, according to you, what you just said now, and what's the language you use? That Okpebholo is doing the same thing now. You get, but I feel he gave leverage to him. Like it was a free hand. I don't think those things you guys did, you guys can do it now.
We will. We are doing
or
it.
you do it
For this
hold on.
or you do it in a government.
Hold on.
That has
the
wiki.
Obaseki's administration was very intolerant. I'll give you another fact. I was chairman media team, Labour Party Governorship Campaign Council in the last 2024 election. They destroyed our banner across Benin. Agents of the state government. Then state government, not this one. Obaseki's government. We will poster today, they tear it the next morning. Why am I saying all this? Today, Obaseki is effectively history. And most of the people that support him, apart from Zadi of Benin, are history. Zadi of Benin is still here. we are looking forward to put him into the historical books.
Wow.
Very soon.
I like how my hater is being dragged. Thank God. Somebody's helping me to drag him today.
The thing is, today, the same faith that people suffered in his hands, his home people are now suffering it in the hands of Okpebholo. I am now using this as a message to the people in Okpebholo's government. Okpebholo will not be governor forever. It's time we come and it will go. And some of the things you are doing now that you are refusing to measure, top of which Obi was in Benin. I was with him in Oyegun's house.
Yeah. Where the attack happened.
When, in fact, it happened in two places. They first of all went to the secretariat, destroyed it, and then they came to Oyegun. Oyegun was governor when some of us were still on Pampers. There was no Pampers then. It's that white cloth that they used to wrap you. Napkin. And then small children, we go and fire at his gate. An elder statesman like that. For what? Is he worth it? Just because you want to show that you love TINUBU more than Remi TINUBU. You want to show that you love TINUBU more than Seyi TINUBU. Let people play this politics. You claim you are working. Go and have these conversations with the people. But this is just like a reminder. So about the Obaseki administration was very intolerant to opposition. But after that,
but there was a saying that he worked for Labour Party as well.
He didn't.
There was a saying.
He didn't. Another thing that the Obaseki administration had going for him was propaganda. He had a fantastic media team.
Amazing.
Nobody compared to the Obaseki. Even up till now, nobody compared.
Why are you looking
I'm
at
looking
me?
at you now.
No, it was part of it now.
I'm looking at
He
you
was part of the structure.
He had a fantastic media team. That's why I'm looking at you.
That he lacked media.
No, he had the. In fact,
okay.
People saying that he lacked media was part of the propaganda for you not to see how effective his media team was. Yes, he completely dominated the social media. He completely dominated the print and electronic media. It was Obaseki's time that they put people in a room, give them laptop, give them phone, give them data, give them food. Their own is to look for government narrative to push everywhere. It is a well-known fact in this state. You know it.
Wow.
You know it.
Happened in
It was Obaseki's. Let them deny. I will name names. So we have, but this is a moment of truth.
Yeah, no.
That administration has now passed. We can have
this conversation comfortably
every
now.
governor has their media.
Do you know why we need to speak to this truth now? He started that. It was ingenious. That's never happened before. You know why we need to have this kind of conversations? So that we can, those who are there now, who are running like a bull in the China shop, can know that this is not forever. Power is transient. So let's go beyond Obaseki. Then 2024, I supported Olumide Osaigbovo Akpata. I couldn't have supported Obaseki. I thought he did.
Obaseki was not on the back.
No, he was. Obaseki midwifed Aso Eghodalo. Obaseki, due respect to Aso Eghodalo, Obaseki was the godfather of Aso Eghodalo. That is the fact. The only other person who tried to raise his head in PDP was disgraced out of office and disgraced out of the PDP. Comrade Philip Shaibu was treated so poorly. And this was a guy who literally threw his father under the bus in support of Obaseki. Oshomole is not just a leader to Philip. Philip lived with Oshomole. During Oshomole's labor days, Philip was right. All the progress Oshomole made in life, Philip was right next.
Yeah, Philip was
him.
Nance.
Now, that Philip threw Oshomole under the bus, disagreed vehemently with him, and used even unprintable language on him, just in support of Obaseki.
He told us Oshomole wanted him to.
In fact, I had wanted a situation where, but what I said then was, I would have wanted a situation where Oshomole with Obaseki will take Philip to the primaries, let him go and contest, and then use your influence as governor to make sure he loses, and then find a way to keep him within the party.
And just pacify
him. To pacify him.
Rather than chase him out.
Because with Philip, you were losing a donut. Like a 1-minute man. With Philip. Without Philip, what were you hoping would happen? Philip are now going to join your adversaries. And then see the illegal impeachment that was pronounced illegal by the courts. Philip was impeached. That sealed the fate of Aso Eghodalo. Completely. And Aso Eghodalo again, just like Obaseki was an outsider to the politics of Edo State.
Say outsider, what do you mean?
He had not been around. Zadi of Benin has been around. I have been around.
So he's just saying he's not a homeboy.
More or less.
So does that, we're having this conversation even before now.
There's nothing wrong with an outsider being governor or contesting for governor. But we had just had a bitter experience with one outsider. When I say an outsider, somebody who doesn't understand the nuances of governance here. You know that it is said that Obaseki didn't have a house in Benin. Even up to this time. That where he was living was a leased apartment. And then since he left as governor, he has never come back to Edo. Almost 2 years down the line. Igbenedion, I've seen him at least twice at OTI, opposite Kada. I've seen him there. I've also seen him in his guest house at the other OTI. He's around. Osareme Osumbo, even the day that we were shot at Oyegun's house, Osareme Osumbo was there. A former governor. Oyegun stays here.
Osareme is not a former governor.
He is a former governor.
By law,
you can argue it, but
by law,
I'm not a lawyer, so that's up to you and your lawyer. I know he was a governor. Osareme is here. Oyegun is here. Oshomole frequency Yamu. Where is Obaseki?
Did you watch the interview when the governor was saying he should come to Edo, say that he has what he wants to do?
If he has a case to answer, why does he not come and answer it?
Where's the case?
If he's running away from it, why?
Nobody has invited him.
No. If he's running, okay, they say the wicked run it. Why no one pursue it? So why is he running? Why don't you come back home? Why don't you, since you left office as governor, I know you are very passionate about it. That's why I'm hitting on it. Since you left office as governor, why have you not come to rally your troops? Why have you not come to say thank you to those who supported you for 8 unbroken years like Zadi of Benin?
Okay, now 2 days after that, comrade, should I say comrade now, Abel Stone led a team of thugs to his house. The name of recovering.
That was a legitimate government committee, so you can't call them thugs actually. You may have your reservations about the characters that populate it.
A committee with over 30 boys.
It's a committee all the same.
Officially, the committee members we know are not up to 5. But then when there were over 30 boys, in the name of they were going to recover vehicle, raided his house. So if you were the one, you know that coming back here, you are in danger, first of all, from the party in power.
We were shot at Oyegun's house. Has Oyegun run away? Have you been shot at before? What I saw that day, it's not something I can describe. For 2 days, I was reflecting. I mean, you mean your life can flash before your eyes like this? Yeah. Thank God for that gallant DSS officer who returned a volley of fire.
But in the same vein of this, saying this thing now, there are still some quarters saying that this thing was orchestrated by the ADC to gain sympathy.
So we deliberately shoot at all of our principal officers gathered in a room. Makes no sense. No, people should.
That's what truth.
Let me give you an example. A friend of mine in Germany, he's been a good friend. We both did not like Obaseki together, but he is of the APC. I then was of the Labour Party, supporting the Labour Party. He had made a video where he was laughing and he was talking. And he was saying, don't mind all these ADC people, they shot at themselves, trying to gather sympathy and all of this and all of that. And then I wanted to comment on the video. I said, no, this guy is my friend. Because I was for the first time, I really got angry with somebody. Yeah, I was like, is everything okay with this gentleman? And then I went to my phone, I checked, I saw his number, and then I texted him, I'm highly disappointed in you. Do you know? He didn't know I was there. I said, do you know that I was right there when those shots were fired? I was standing outside. I crushed under one of the pillars in Oyegun's house and the bullets were flying. I said, do you know? I said, it then means that if I was hit and something happens to me, you will still mock me like this. Yeah. I say, let us remove politics. Where is our humanity? You are my friend. Because we don't belong in the same party. So I can be shot at, and that's fine. Do you know that when I told you Obaseki's administration was very intolerant. And I keep going back to the Obaseki administration. And this is also a message to the Okpebholo administration. When Okpebholo was coming, himself and Philip at the airport, and people violently attacked him and even lost his police officer.
Yes, I
This is the
remember.
fact of it.
Yes.
I don't dwell on propaganda. I don't dwell on twisting stories. It's a straightforward matter. People were coming at the airport. They didn't shoot themselves and shoot their own police. And they shot one of the orderlies to then candidate Monday Okpebholo, now Governor Okpebholo. And he lost that police. All of us, including me, went on air to condemn it. I was not supporting APC. I was the chairman of the media team of Labour Party. Because beyond politics, there is humanity. You say, oh, it's possible ADC arranged it to shoot at the most important person in ADC. And the two supposed factions, the two people quarreling people in ADC, were in the same meeting. So
You can't even say one of them.
No, they quarreled to arrange for themselves to be shot at by themselves. I mean, how it's mind-blowing. I am not here to speculate because these two incidences are incidences of active investigation. But what I am saying, the whole gamut of this conversation is we cannot remove humanity from politics. And there is a line that should not be crossed.
Yeah.
The reason why people should not cross that line is that if you do today,
there's no going back.
There's no going back. If you hurt, there's no way you can. That's why court war spiraled out of Benin. Yeah. If you remember when those court wars started fighting that, they'll go beat person. They will go beat person. That in the 90s and early 2000s, yeah. They'll go beat person. They'll just go beat person, play him. They'll leave him. Then one group now decide that they can kill. They now took it to the next level.
Yeah.
And then that is how now. Can you count the number of you? There's hardly any family now that cannot point to somebody they've lost to insane court war. Yeah. So why do you promote that kind of madness? Do you think anybody has a monopoly of violence? Do you think there's anything you can do that another person cannot do?
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Or do you think there's anybody you can pay to do something that another person cannot pay?
It's crazy.
So why don't we know that I'm saying this to the reasonable heads in all political parties, because just as you have mad people in every political party, you also have reasonable people.
That's why I want to say what I want to say now, because you might think if it's something that you will not be able to do, but somebody else can,
and somebody else will. Why did you stop talking about it?
Because there are bigger fishes to fry. Yes, there are bigger.
It has gone fair dry.
There are bigger fishes to fry, and if you correct the head, if the head is rotten, the body will smell. But if you successfully correct the head, all these other ones are just minor. It's easy to deal with. And then, again, if you strike the shepherd, the sheep will scatter. So if you want to target the shepherd of bad governance, if you want to target the head, now HERD, of bad governance, strike the shepherd. And then you see that instead of stealing one sheep, why not just remove the shepherd so that all the sheep can scatter? And then one more analogy to drive that point home. I have gone past picking the fruits. We are now focusing on the roots.
You want to uproot it.
Yes, so that's why the Edo issue, that time will come.
But please, before that time, since we are here, let me just ask. It's been almost 2 years now of this current administration. How would you rate their performance thus far?
Generally, as a government, disgraceful. In comparison with Obaseki administration, excellent.
Oh.
You know, when you are doing 0 and somebody is not doing 5.
But you have to use a metric, so...
Yeah, we will do all the metrics. Yeah. There is 100%. And you are doing 0. Or you are doing 5 out of that 100. And somebody now comes and does 25. That person is doing 5 times what you've done. But it's still a disgrace in the grand scheme of things. 25 over 100. That's what I see there. The last administration was poor. And the last administration had no reason to be poor. You know why? Because the last administration had the best brains. This one is a conglomeration of many illiterates and few educated. But they seem to have something going for them. that the last administration did not have. They have things to show. The last administration didn't have. That last administration had beautiful policies, no implementation. This administration has implementation, no policy.
But what are they
But
implementing?
if they have no policies, then what then are they implementing?
Yeah, they just do because they want to do.
Okay, we see a mode one.
Mode one.
Okay.
It go fine for I mode one.
Okay.
There is no thought. There is no thought put into the doing. There is no impact assessment analysis. There is no needs assessment analysis. It go
But
fine
they are
mode
doing
one.
things.
Yes. Make flyover go good there or put on the money.
They don't need down.
That flyover, if you take the money and maybe the road under is even bad, and you fix the road under and fix all the other adjoining road and channel all the flood, it will serve more than trying to fly over the problem.
Now you still have money to spare.
But they do it anyway. But
And
the
you are
problem,
seeing it.
but the problem with Obaseki's administration is that they will explain it to you how to move this flood from here to River Niger. They will tell you how this road can bring 10,000 metric ton of grains from the farm. They will show you how our app is turning students to geniuses. But when you go to the school, there's no teacher. The school has no seats. The roof is off. Nothing. When you go to the GRA, that's why people who live outside Nigeria fell for that trap, the Obaseki administration's trap. Because if you explain it very well to people who live abroad, they understand it. But they are not often around to see for themselves. That's why some of us who were here in Nigeria, we kept telling them that this thing is on paper. There are many shocking examples. If you know the place called 19th Street, if you see, they did the road less than 500 meters. But if you see it on paper, how beautiful it is, how it would have led to Siloko Road. Awesome. Same as Okun Road. And then even the Ekosodin Road that they managed to do, for me, it's just, you can't do that kind of road. Oshomole, I don't support him anymore. But Oshomole didn't do that kind of road. The government, if they talk about Iriri Road, Iriri is effectively a farm road in a serious place. As big as that axis is with big houses, you mean that is the road? A road that is like this. One car will wait for the other to pass before you can pass. They did similar with Ugbo Village Road. Go to Ugbo Village Road now. That's huge ditches in the middle. And that road is one of the youngest roads. If you really if you do maybe the Oshomole Obaseki time. Most of the roads built by Oshomole are still there. In fact, they are the roads we have in Benin. The expansion, the resurfacing, because they were properly done. If those roads are maintained properly, they will still be there. But look at those ones collapsing. Abi, is this cool? And then another thing that administration did where blew my head. A private investor or a private group will come and do a project. The government will own it. Osiomo is one. It was later we discovered that Osiomo didn't belong to the state. ShopRite is another one. I hope you know ShopRite is not for the state. Radisson Blue does not belong to the state. I hope you know. At least majority shares from all these places I've mentioned. But how? Jara. You know the Jara have shut down. And the one in Ugbo has shut down completely. Shocking. The road the administration of Obaseki did to Jara was carrying flood into Jara in Ugbo. You can go and see it's there. I'm not speaking. That's how poorly the road was done. And I'm not saying this out of hate. Obaseki has come and gone. But we are using this to remind those who are there now that this power is not forever. Obaseki had the most if I have sat down with the Governor Obaseki, for 4 hours, and I genuinely was intrigued by his intelligence. Nobody knows better than him. But why he could not transform that clarity of mind into visible, life-impacting project is what I cannot tell you today. Today, the one you people call illiterate, He's building Oba market. He's doing the other market.
No, I have not started the
Okay,
market.
let's assume, but I've seen Oba
They
market.
started the Kiosa market doing Oba segregation, but when this government came in, they stopped.
Then the lands they collected at Arogba, they have returned some of them.
No, it's not Arogba. So
It's not Arogba. Sorry, I don't mix it up.
Okeoma and Obage.
Yes, Obage.
Okeoma,
They've returned some of those these things. So these are my arguments. Government should have in itself, the intrinsic value of government is humanity. It's people-centric. What you are doing, if it's not connecting with the people, you are wasting everybody's time. Look at GRA, for example. Auchi, like I told you now, second biggest, or arguably one of the second biggest place in Edo State after BENIN. There's nothing to show for 8 years. At least there should be a flagship project to show. What are the flagship projects? If Okpebolo leaves office today, it can point you to 2 flyovers. What is your own? Even when I feel they are not well thought out, but they are there.
They are there. True.
What is your own?
True. Valid.
That is the question.
Okay. All right.
You will show me an app and say it's do best.
Okay.
It doesn't cut it for me. I don't know. I might be wrong. Maybe that's...
we have Edo Health Insurance. I don't know if you know about that one.
Edo Health Insurance cannot be considered a government achievement. Yes, fantastic by way of policy. And I support it wholeheartedly. Because my mom didn't have health insurance. Part of the reason she passed, when she passed. But that health insurance, you still pay for it.
True.
Abi?
True.
You are paying. Small. You'll be contributing to it. Everybody contributes to it so that you can easily go there. I know you're a beneficiary. I saw your video. Fantastic. Glowingly. I've had to discharge people who did CS. You pay 500K, 600K. I've had to. I know how expensive it can be. Yeah. And then you see those who have health insurance will pay 30K, 50K. Fantastic. But it is paid for by the people.
It's still paid.
Where is your own work? Where is your capital project? That Obaseki government was the government that budgeted 60 billion for what they called economic enablers. And I went on TV, I went on radio, I was crying. What is economic enablers? Till today, nobody has answered. Because as a podcast host, your economic enabler is your Shaw mic. Yeah. As a farmer, my economic enabler might be a tractor. As a transporter, my economic, maybe as a driver, my economic enabler might be good road. Yeah. How can you now know the economic enabler for all 5 million Edo people and budget 60 billion for it? These were some of the avenues they used to liquidate the state. And then they plunged on into debt of almost about 500 billion from around 100 billion you met it. It cannot be fair. No matter how much I love that person, it's just like I love Oshomole. I told you Oshomole was the one who, got us interested, inspired us, who was like a father to us. Today is massaging foot on private jet. I should endorse it.
He's your senator too.
Yes, my senator. Respectfully.
So how would you rate his performance as a senator?
Natasha is doing better.
Because somebody said his projects are in the air.
Ooh,
that is all.
Okay.
That's all I can say.
That's all you have to say.
And in all fairness, I think Oshomole now is old.
So
we are used to the it's
the vibrancy.
The vibrancy is gone. The vitality is no longer there.
I feel he has gone straight into being a politician.
No, that it comes with the territory. Once you now ask yourself, what are you fighting for?
You fight, argue.
You fight. That the vitality.
No wonder he stopped wearing brown.
The vitality we saw in him, the push we saw in him. The Oshomole I know, for example, will not be in a room where what will ensure transparent election will be discussed, and then it will be on the other side.
Opposite.
So when I saw that, I knew the Oshomole as we know him is no longer. He's now an old man who just wants to enjoy his life, live his life gently, just push it. He feels he has earned it. Yes, as an Edo Northerner, I think he has also earned the support they accord him there, because as governor, he did very well. Very well, extremely well. And it's a Yamo community will never be the same again.
Yeah, they'll never forget him.
We'll never forget him.
I do not to never forget.
These are some of the issues. These are some of the issues. Oshomole as governor, if you ask what is Oshomole's flagship project, for example, now, you can point to maybe Central Hospital, built from scratch, not renovated or built. You can point to a university beat from thin air. Didn't exist. They set up the first block and beat it. And this is university training people today. You can point to all the numerous quality roads. That's one thing you can't take away from me.
All right. So to tie things together, I have one last request. What do you have to say to the average Nigerian come 2027?
You have no choice than to fix your country. You have to fix government. I said this in a previous podcast, and I think it's instructive. I repeat it here. 90% of what you pray for can be addressed by government.
Your prayers have been answered.
As little or as essential as a life partner. I don't know if you are searching already. But a life partner with proper government, with proper economic policies that empowers the people, it will be easier to find life partner.
True.
The man is 34 and is managing to put his first 1 million naira together. You want him to marry you? At 30, you as a cannot afford it.
Exactly.
You as a girl, you graduated since 21. You've used from 21 to 35 to do NATEC, to do lashes, to try podcast, to do this, to try content creator. Then finally, you now have small breakthrough at 33. You wake up one morning and realize that on my night don't reach you. I never marry, I never born.
You're almost 40.
These are economic issues. It's not Shiloh.
I understand.
Very understandable. Very understandable.
It will not cut it. It will not cut it. It will not work. It's good. It has its place. Reserve it to fight the devil. But you see, you must address economic issues. You must address social issues socially and economically. It's important that people know this. You pray for Johnny Mercies. You enter bus now to go to Lagos. Last time I went to Lagos by road, as soon as they finished loading us, somebody hung by the door to soak the entire stretch of the road in the precious blood of Jesus.
After soaking, they will not ask you for.
Because now hustling day too.
Yes, now.
If all the serious countries in the world are soaking it, do you think it will get to you?
As in, the blood for
Actually, the blood not go finish.
The blood for finish.
Let's be honest, though.
Why don't we find a way to get government to fix the road and fix security so that you can get in your car and drive to Lagos?
Yeah.
So that when you get to Lagos, instead of soaking the stretch of the road in the precious blood of Jesus, you just get to Lagos and say, thank you, Jesus, for Johnny Mercies. That frustration you are feeling, that mood swing you are having, it's not really mood swing. It's not
Nigeria.
menstrual cramps that is causing it. It's stress. It's hunger. It's frustration.
It's Nigeria.
It's anger.
True.
As a man, you think you are a player. You are following 5 different women. It's not that you are not really a player. That's not who you are. But it's cheaper to deceive younger girls and have a lot of them than sustaining a relationship with one.
And even get married.
And even getting married. That one is a different. That one is Champions League.
Club World Cup.
Yes. Because now you are married, you have children, you have to take care of them.
You must be responsible.
You must pay bills.
You must.
So your younger siblings are still looking up to you.
Yes, you are not actually an irresponsible person.
It's just Nigeria.
Have you noticed that 19, 20-year-old in the US, in the UK, they get married?
Yeah.
But 19-year-old here is too small to marry.
They carry belly.
You can't even think of it, sef. Even if you don't carry belly, how you want to reason the marriage? Have you eaten?
Have you eaten?
Have you taken? Your data that is on your phone? Is it your mommy that bought it for you?
You check your age and you check your counterpart in
elsewhere. They're already in leadership. They've gone far.
What they are doing. You can't look yourself.
Let me ask. Let me tell you one thing, Zadi of BENIN. My mother got married. I've never said this publicly, but my mother got married as a teenager, and my father too was also a teenager.
Oh wow!
at 25, 26, 27, they've
They
had
don't
all of us.
finish.
My father
They don't
once,
So they grow up with the children.
like 10 years
Imagine.
ago, not now. My father once walked up to me like 10 years ago and said, at your age, I already had you.
Try.
Like 10 years ago. Why were they able to get married so early then?
Yeah.
Why? You think my both parents were educated. My mother was a teacher, my father worked in a bank. Why were they getting married so early? They married as teenagers, still went to university. Married though.
Yes,
Imagine.
Like they don't be
So, yeah,
married, husband
yeah.
and wife,
Imagine.
they still go school, graduate. Or you go graduate, find work.
You never started to
You
define
never
Never
why.
start to
balance.
define why,
You
never
never
start to
see
define
balance.
husband. Why were our grandparents able to marry? Why were our grandparents able to have horse without? Do you know your grandfather has a house?
Mm,
True.
that's two.
Yes.
Two.
And so your parents lived in that house.
Yeah.
Everybody grow. You see, they will have this passage out, 5 rooms here, 5 rooms here, 10 rooms.
And they'll have like 2 or 3 wives. Those ones will have their own
Yes.
segment. Their
And they
sections.
built those houses in their early 20s.
20s,
Yeah.
23,
Yeah.
24.
My grandfather's younger brother had a Mercedes Benz 200 at 21.
Imagine.
Then
Before 25,
much
26,
more?
he owned a sawmill.
what was it? What were they doing?
This
What
one was a furniture guy. You.
Furniture.
they sell
plumbing,
cocoa, they sell pepper,
farming.
they do this one, they be driver, they drive go Ibadan, they drive go.
And now we are earning more than these people.
You are not anymore
Thought.
in real terms.
Okay, in real time, yes, actually.
You are not.
In real time. But we are
So how
working
come
so
these
hard.
guys are able to do all those things then?
Because
But
economically,
we
Nigeria
are
was better
35.
then.
At 40, if you are not a Yahoo boy, you don't have
Or
a
a
house.
political jobber.
Even political job herself, they know they give money where you reach to take builders, unless you are in a
You
position where you
to
can
build
steal.
us.
Yeah.
Huh.
If you are not a Yahoo boy, you don't have a house at 35 in Benin.
Mhm.
Out of 100%, maybe 90, maybe 10%, legit hustle
Yeah, legit.
at 35. Or maybe your parents don't
And from the house, you go know.
Yes, you
By
will not
seeing
say
the
this
house,
one.
By
you go
seeing
know,
the house,
say
you
this
go
one
know this one
are-
are legit.
This one are legit money, this one are Yahoo money.
boy.
I don't have problem with all those people. I'm not fighting anybody here. But I'm saying, why is it so hard to live in Nigeria of 2025?
Mm.
It is not, God has not changed though. It is government and
God,
economy
yeah.
that has changed. We need people to think. I mean, we can play politics from now till thy kingdom come. If the politics is not answering to the needs, to the wishes and aspiration, to the desire of the people, you are wasting everybody's time. That is why, because there are no thinkers, that's why you just go. Do you know that if you do the right thing, you make a lot of money
Yeah.
That's very true.
And
become
get
richer.
a lot of
That is
goodwill
very
as
true.
well.
and get goodwill?
Exactly. The people love you, your pockets are full, and everybody
Everybody is happy.
Everybody is.
You are asking us to pay taxes.
That's what some Delta people tell you about boy.
You are asking people to pay taxes for what, really? These are the questions.
No benefit.
But do you know that when Oshomole came into Edo, that's why I talk of that Oshomole's first term, because I studied it like a book. When he came into Edo IGR was 300 million. He went on TV, ITV, I still remember vividly, and said he wants people to be paying taxes, that he wants to use the taxes to work for the people, do this and do this and this. And then he actually started with the small he was getting, started working. People saw it. You know, people were willingly paying taxes in this same Benin. We're happily. Revenue went from 300 million to 3 billion
Wow.
within the first 3 years. What has changed? Peter Obi, for example, as governor, focused on HDI. The insecurity when he came as governor that he inherited, you couldn't go anywhere in Onitsha. Like, you can literally be walking, you check your bag, and then there's a hole in your bag, and everything inside your bag had gone. He fixed it. He dealt with it. No, you can't completely fix this thing, but you handle it so much so that people can. Peter Obi beat a 10-lane road from the head bridge. So if you are going to Delta before now, I think they are expanding it now. It's a tiny road till you get to the bridge. Once you cross first Niger Bridge, once you cross to the other side, you see it's a 10-lane dual carriage road. He built it. And go and check the economy of Anambra. You can't compare Anambra and Edo. I hate to say it publicly. I think I need to say this is an Edo-centric podcast. I think I bashed the Obaseki administration a lot more than I suggested to them. That's why I now suggest a lot more. All of us are mature over time. So we cannot be criticizing for criticism's sake.
Yes.
We also need
prefer
solutions as well.
Yes.
Okay.
Amazing.
So if you put some thinking into all these things I'm saying, you can get people to do it. You can, every day we go foreign investors. If your local investors are not investing, you want foreigners to bring their money here.
Nobody's going to do that.
Nobody will do that.
Yeah. Honestly, this has been a
Amazing.
very, very vibrant conversation. I have learned a lot personally. I have learned a lot. But like I asked earlier, I need you to say something to the Nigerian people because I feel like Nigerian youths are feeling a little bit they are disheartened, they are tired.
Especially
Let me
after
speak for
what happened in
myself. I am
2023.
tired, honestly. I even supporting Peter Obi or supporting this person or that person, it's exhausting at this point.
Okay, it's okay to be tired, but it's not okay to give up.
No joy.
The question I'll ask you is, give up and then embrace what? What are your options? I am tired though. I'm no longer interested in politics. But politics is interested in you. No, government matter, no concern me, they give me a headache. But you are government matter. The policies of government impact you one way or another. I always use the most basic of examples to drive home my point. We are close to Iyama. Iyama is by the corner here. You stand at Iyama, not you. They stand at Iyama in the night and hustle. I make 100K, for example, in night. That's 3 million in a month. That's assuming that we remove cramping and the rest, but just 3 million in a month. And that is 36 million a year. You will pay taxes on it. And because you refuse to participate in government, the person you pay the taxes to will go and use that money instead of patronizing you locally here to import.
Like when they are massaging their food.
Shankers from South Africa and Brazil.
Yes, Brazilian bodies.
And bring them here. And then you are at the receiving end. There's no support. There are places in this world where government gives support to sex workers.
True.
They give them condoms. They give them things.
STI kits.
They give the STI kits. They treat them to just keep them alive because we know nobody plans to go and do what they are doing.
That's the oldest.
It's the oldest craft.
And yes. Whether you like it or not, it's a part of the economy.
Now you can deny that these things are not there. You can say, "Oh, don't even talk about it," but you are living in a fool's paradise. I am living in reality. I talk about it as I see it. So that is one. You that is abusing drug, for example, you are not interested in government. If you run mad today, there are only 9 psychiatric hospitals in Nigeria. 9.
And they are all full.
Less than 200.
They are full. They are pushing people away.
Less than 200 psychiatrists.
Less than 200 psychiatrists. I didn't even have that data. But there are only 9 psychiatric hospitals. We are lucky to have one in Benin.
Yeah,
Uselu. If you run mad today, chances that you will find yourself in a white garment church where they will flog the living daylight out of you. It's very high. So if you know what is good for you, abandon that drugs now and participate in government.
I'll go and vote.
Go and collect your voter's card.
You don't need somebody to tell you.
If you say you are addicted to it, collect voter's card, be fighting the abysmal, so that when you run mad, there will be hope for you.
At least, if at all.
A psychiatrist told me that most of the madness, they call it mental health problem, but it's actually madness. I want to be polite, but I don't know how to say the truth politely. Most of the madness you see around are treatable.
Yeah,
true.
Yeah.
And I can tell you for a fact, I have seen somebody who went to psychiatric hospital in Uselu and came out perfect. No issues whatsoever. He's back to, the person is back to his normal life. So that means there is hope, there is help, but there is simply not enough facilities there. Don't think that the police that will even arrest you and see Igbo in your pocket and collect bribe and let you go is not your friend, though. It's better they even charge you to court, because if you run mad, you are on your own.
Not only you.
I've been at the boys where they do Yahoo. You think EFCC never catch you? So you dey ball, you collect the money, use it to buy Don Julio that they import.
kidney problem.
You refund the Don Julio back to them.
That's if it's original.
Because the Don Julio is very expensive now, they fake
They
it.
fake it.
They will pour it
So
in
when
your
they fake it,
kidney,
you
they
drink
go.
it. Just go to the renal unit. Is it renal unit they call it?
Yes,
In
yes.
and go and see kidney problem. And just go there and see kidney problem. The number of people who are down with kidney issues. That's your money you have. You will sell that your house, sell that your car, sell your phone, sell everything, invest it, and you may not come out of it alive.
And note, you don't have health insurance too.
Exactly.
And do you know that? You know what can stop it? A proper government in office can ensure that there are no fake products circulating the whole place.
True. That's all it takes is proper governance.
Just proper government.
Everything
rises and falls on proper leadership.
Yeah,
true.
You bought hair. You bought hair for 500k. They give you hair of 50k. You are chatting me or some other persons in social media
to help you
to
to
go and
call
help
them
you
out.
to go help you call out the brand.
Yeah.
And you have never voted. You don't have voter's card. Am I police? Am I your police? Don't you know that?
Air vigilante.
But you are the e-police.
I am not an e-police.
Air vigilante.
If I want to join the police, I'll go and join the proper police. I am not a policeman. Your job, if you had a proper leadership, a proper responsive security agencies, all you need to do is go to a police station, put in a report that so thing was stolen from me.
You.
It's called OBT, obtaining by force. Even if it's 10 naira, the police will recover it and hand it over to you. But
in a working society,
we live in a, how do you get a working society? Elect a proper government.
Okay. Shape people have heard.
You can go on and on. Give me any example. Just about any example.
It still falls back to bad leadership.
It always comes back to bad leadership. Do I say you should be obsessed with government, waiting for government to come and feed you? No. You can do well for yourself, but you can. You see, I gave this example in a previous podcast. I think I need to mention it. The life expectancy in Nigeria today is 54 years. And you die at 54. The pastor says, God has called you. The life expectancy in Canada is 79. So God loves you more than the Canadian
person in Canada.
He does not like
so
calling them.
God does not like they don't have phone.
They don't
doesn't have their phone number.
To call them.
So it's you, African, that God is calling.
God like you the most.
Because the system here.
It's crazy. In Japan at 80, they're still driving bicycles.
You are one sickness away from death and complete economic disaster.
Yes. Yeah.
All the small millions you have in your account, you are one sickness away from losing everything. In a working, for you to even travel to the UK, you must register in their health insurance.
Yes. True.
But from here, people stole police pensions fund. Pension meant for police. If somebody can steal from the police, who are you, a civilian?
If they can steal
money meant for the military.
They can steal it.
They stole it.
Somebody stole it because you have an improper government. When you have proper government, it will answer to most of these things.